Hello, or like they say in Canada, bonjour. My name is Jorge Galvan, and we're here to present the Pestel analysis about Canada, which will be very useful for the marketers who are interested in make business with Canada. And the following presentation is the guidelines for doing business in Canada. We want to talk about a few things and 6 bullet points about location, population, political system, freedom, and corruption. And the last one will be rule of law. The first one, location. Canada is located in North America. This is one of the second largest country in total area. Recent measurement indicate that it's moving towards Siberia. On population, with an estimated total population of 36,286,425 people by the end of the quarter of 2016, as you can see right here in the graph, they're pretty much equal, and they have 17 million females and males, so they're pretty much the same. Political system, they have 3 subdivisions: federal government, provincial and territorial, and municipal government. Federal government is responsible for things that affect the whole country, such as citizen, immigration, national defense, and trade with other countries. Provincial and territorial, responsible for such things as education, healthcare, and highways. And municipal government is responsible for firefighting, city streets, and all other local matters like police and driver license and stuff like that. If it is not a local government, the province provides service. On freedom, Canada they're really high on their levels of freedom. Like you can see, trade freedom 87, investment freedom 80, financial freedom 80, like you can see on the pictures right here. Corruption, that's another good thing about Canada. Canada has a reputation for a clean government, judicial system with an impeccable record of independence and transparency, a vigorous persecution of corruption cases. Also, 89% of Canada lands is owned by the state, and it's only 11% that is privately owned. Properties is really well protected. And the last thing that we want to talk about is rule of law. So the rule of law in Canada, the property rights is really high too. Canada's economy fundamentals remain strong, well supported by solid protection of property rights and an independent judiciary that enforces the rule of law effectively. So that's all for me. Thank you so much for your time. Or like they say in Canada, merci. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Osei Prempe. Canada's economic system. Canada's economic system is based off of high-tech industry, which is similar to the United States. It has a market-based economy that is providing high standard of living for its citizens. Economic growth. Canada has seen a lot of growth, just like many other developed countries. Between 2005 and 2015, Canada, when compared to the United States in terms of GNI and PPP, although in the trillions, Canada is much lower when it's compared to the United States. Economic freedom. Canada is much more freer than the rest of the world. On the economic freedom scale, Canada is 74.8% as compared to the rest of the world, which is 59.6%. Comparing Canada on the index of economic freedom, there is much more freedom in Canada than there is in the rest of the world. Freedom is highly regarded in Canada just as it is in the United States. Economic instability. In general, Canada and the United States both have low inflation as per consumer price index. Human development indications. Human Development Index is on a scale of 0 to 1, and Canada is very high on the scale. But when compared to the United States, Canada is slightly lower, and this has been the case since the 1980s. Foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment is investment that flows in or flows out of Canada. And for Canada, its foreign direct investment that went out of the shores of Canada is 69% of GDP. And investment that Canada attracted over the years is 48% of GDP as of 2015.
The rate of exchange for Canada compared to the United States has remained stable over the years, as you can see in the graph. Canada is the 11th largest export country in the world. It has a positive trade balance of $7.49 billion, with exporting being $448 billion. The top exports for Canada are crude petroleum, cars, petroleum gas, refined petroleum, and vehicle parts. Canada exports to the United States more than any other country. Canada is the 12th largest importing country in the world, and the top import of Canada is cars at 6.11%. Educational spending in Canada is about 8.8%, which is about middle of the road compared to the other countries. There is a wide range of cultural religion in Canada, with Catholic and Christian being the most practiced. How does Canada rate with the 7 dimensions of Trompenaires? Universalism, individualism, and specific versus diffuse are what it rates highest in. And coincidentally, in the Hofstede, it rates high in the individualism and indulgence, which is pretty interesting, I think.
Technology in Canada. High technology exports are products in research and development such as aerospace, computers, pharmaceuticals, scientific instruments, and electrical machinery. In 2010, Canada exported $23.9 billion worth, and in 2015, $26.9 billion worth, which is significantly lower than Mexico and the United States, who in 2005 exported more than $200 billion worth. Intellectual property protection are payments and receipts between residents and non-residents for the authorized use of proprietary rights. This includes patents, trademarks, copyrights, broadcasting rights, and many more. These charges for Canada have steadily grown, and in 2005, $6.9 billion worth were made for the use of intellectual property payments, and in 2015, $9.3 billion worth, which is still significantly lower than the United States. Canada's environment. Agricultural land is represented by the share of land area that is arable under permanent crops and under permanent pastures. Agricultural activities provide developing countries with food and revenue, and its major sector in the economy. Canada averages around 7.4% of land that is arable, as opposed to the United States, who has 45% land arable, and Mexico averages about 54%. Canada's court system is a combination of common law and civil law, which are based upon the English and French systems, of which were brought to Canada in the 17th and 18th century. The Supreme Court is the highest court, with 9 judges representing the country's regions. Under the Supreme Court are the Superior Court. Each province has 2 levels of Superior Courts, one for trials and the other for appeals. The federal courts are for issues under federal laws and appeals from the decisions of federal tribunals. If we look at Canada's SWOT analysis, some of their strengths include natural resources, education system, and their proximity to the United States. Weaknesses include population density, a small domestic market, and their taxation on business investments. Opportunities are their diverse economy, development of unconventional sources, and their potential of a valuable labor market. Some threats include regulations and procedures, possibility for climate change, and increase of internal barriers. That concludes our Pestel presentation for the great country of Canada. Thank you for following our discussion of the aspects that make Canada a potential place to do business.